ladies and gentlemen and subscribers. Thank you for watching my watch list this week. This is the watch list for October 7th, 2019. And we're going to start off with Sprint this week. XLC was triggered for a reversal. Now, I understand Sprint is not part of that ETF, but it is part of that sector. And Sprint shows the most promise. Right now, we're looking for it to hold support at the 586. That's where I'll actually be looking for my entry, around that 586 area. And first price target will be 622 if we get the pullback to 586. If our current level holds, we're looking for it to break 622 for a pop up to 660. That's a large move for Sprint. That from where we're at, that's about a 40-cent move, which will yield you a fairly decent return on Sprint. But let's go take a look at the open interest and see what we can find there. Alright, so ticker symbol S. What we need to be focusing on here is the 6 strikes. Now these expire in 12 days on October 18th, so this may be a longer term play, but I still believe we can find some action on it this week. I think we're looking at 6 providing a strong support level, with 7 being our upper resistance area. These particular calls were added on the 30th, so if we jump over to the Analyze tab, we can watch the development of that. Alright, so here we are on the Analyze tab, and currently we're on September 26th, and we're focusing on the 6s. Primarily, we're looking at the volume and the switch to open interest. So let's jump over to the 27th. We see here we've got some nice 4,229 volume being traded at the 6s for a price of 20 by 42. So if we jump over to Monday, we now see that the bid has gone up and they've converted it into open interest. So this, I believe, is providing a strong support level. We jump all the way over to the 5th. We see they're losing value, but the position is still holding, while the security is still holding a strong level. And we see on Friday we got some strong volume, like pretty much every other security. So we're looking for 6, at least as far as the option chain is concerned, to hold. I believe the chart has a lower support level, but this looks like some bullish activity to me. We do not have a lot of activity over here on the puts. We do have some small holders over here, but obviously this is going to be our primary concern. So we'll definitely be looking to play the 6s on the shorter term dates, and we're looking for some bullish activity. Alright guys, so our next symbol here is ticker symbol XLC. This is the communication ETF from the Spider, and we're at kind of a critical level for this particular ETF. You see we kind of have been range bound, just stuck in this zone for quite a while, chopping back and forth. And right now we're looking for it to hold the 48.84. I'd like it to hold 48.84. I'd like to see a pullback to that 48.44 for an entry, with first price target being 49.79, breaking 49.79, ultimate price target 50.46 this week. And that will yield you well over 100% return on your money. But let's go take a look at some open interest and see what we can find to justify this. Alright ladies and gentlemen, so ticker symbol XLC triggered for reversal on the daily, and there's a couple areas that we definitely want to be watching as far as open interest. So the first area that I want to mention is our 51-52 strikes. We see that we had about 2,500 added on or played on the 21st, which then transferred into our open interest area. And if we look at the 21st, which is right here on our chart, we can see that those were added into a decline. So what we're looking for are these these strikes to start showing some volume, as these are definitely some bearish positions. We can see they have transferred into open interest. Next thing to focus on here are these large positions over here at our 49, 48, and 50 strikes. As we approach this area down here, these start to lighten up. So these are again our bearish positions, or put sellers. So let's take a look at that as that develops. And we see that the positions start lightening up right on the 3rd into the 4th. So again, we're looking for these positions to lighten up. They could even start to increase as these holders might start selling them, and we have put buyers. So that's just something to keep an eye on. These are very bearish positions, and if we can get our first support level here around the 48.80s to hold, we're looking for these to lighten up, maybe transfer into bullish positions, and for these to lighten up and transfer into bullish positions. So that's the play on XLC. If we're looking to get into this, I'd be looking for the 48.81 area to hold, and possibly jumping into these 50 puts. If we get our expected move, which is ultimately up to 50.46, then that would be 100% return on your money. Alright, so our next symbol here is ticker symbol XBI. This is the biotech ETF. Can't stress this more. We proceed with caution on XBI. Biotechs are just notorious for being volatile, very hard to predict. A lot of catalyst-based trading takes place here. As you know, I do not follow the news. I don't look at catalysts. I don't care what's happening in the news. What caught my interest in this is, of course, it was triggered for a reversal on the daily. That reversal came in on the 2nd, and we see we got that nice rally up from 77. We had an opening price of 74, so that's about a $3 rally. That was our play right there. Now we're looking for this to continue. So if we can't hold the 76.86 area, then I'm looking for 75.16 as my ultimate price target to hold. If I can see holding there with some confirmed volume and some positive option order flow, specifically on the 77s, I'd like to see those 77 calls hold. Again, I'd like to see those 76 puts that were added on the 5th, or I'm sorry, the 4th. I'd like to see those also hold, providing us a strong support level, which is supported by my chart. 75.16 is a little below those 76s, but if that area can hold, then those 76s are definitely providing us a support level. I'd like to see that rally back up to ultimately 77.77 from 75.16 for about $2.50, which is definitely a great return on this particular ETF. But we definitely want to see price action confirm that. So let's go take a look at that open interest and see what we can find. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, ticker symbol XBI. Please keep in mind that this is a very volatile and difficult to predict stock, or ETF. But that being said, there are some points of interest that we want to be paying attention to, specifically the 77 strikes on the call side, and notably the 76 puts on the put side. Both of these positions, you see here, we've got 1,095 volume traded on those 76 puts. And later we're going to go down to the time and sales and take a look at where a lot of these were bought. The time and sales lead us to suspect that these are some bullish reinforcers, providing us a nice strong support level underneath us at around the 76 area, and that these 77 calls are in fact bullish buyers expecting a rise through 77, possibly up down to the 78.50 areas. Refer back to my chart for a closer analysis of that. But let's take a look at the development of these 77s and see that they definitely play into a bullish speculative position. Okay guys, so here we are on the Analyze tab for ticker symbol XBI. Currently, we're at the 10/1/2019 on the Think Back feature here, and that is this bar right here. Okay, and we're paying attention to these 77 strikes. Again, focusing on open interest and the volume. So let's take a look at how those develop through time here. Alright, so this is one day in the future, two, where we start to see what was almost a hammer candle if it weren't for the bears kind of pulling that down and bringing up that upper shadow there. We see we got 693 volume added, which then transfers into open interest the next day as we saw a nice rise. And then 10/4, we see that now is 1,117 volume traded with 958 open interest on the 4th, which is, of course, Friday. So what we'd like to see are these volumes being transferred into open interest come Monday, which would then support our 77 strike and a rise up to possibly looking at 78.50s, possibly the 79s. Another thing I wanted you to pay attention to, and we're going to go over right now, is the development of the 76 puts right here, which we see have 1,095 traded volume. So let's go take a look at the time and sales and see where some of these puts were bought. Alright, so here we are on the time and sales. I pulled up a chart for us to kind of look at as we go over a lot of these sales. A lot of these sales took place around at the same time, the largest one being taking place here at 1:51, of course, Eastern time. And there was 104 of them bought at the 39 deltas. So a lot of these deltas are kind of high for a bullish position. But what's notably interesting is where they were bought. Okay guys, so I've marked an important support line for an intraday. This is a 1-minute chart, and like I said earlier, 1351 is where a lot of these sales took place. So 1351 is right here, and then a good portion of these sales took around 1336, 1337, which would happen to be right here. So you can see that both of these were bought above an intraday support level, still below highs of the day though, but we can see that we're forming a nice upward pattern here. Now on a 1-minute chart, we're not seeing higher highs and higher lows, we're actually seeing more range bound. But if we look closer, higher high, lower high, essentially what we're looking at is an uptrend. With our first higher high here, first lower low there, or lower high there, and then our next higher high there. Ultimately looking up to get to this level here, which is around the 77, 70s area. So to me, these seem like speculative sellers of puts expecting a rise. Although we could be seeing a short-term fallback come Monday. So we definitely want to keep an eye out for that. But I believe we're providing a nice support level at the 76 where we see a lot of volume come in. And if we look a little closer, there's another level of strong volume just below that area, which actually provided as support right there. We never saw this 76 level again, so we could be looking for a short-term pullback to that 76, but I believe these are speculative buyers or sellers of puts expecting 76 to hold, which is where we can be looking for our entry. Alright guys, so our next symbol here is ticker symbol FDX. So FDX is triggered for a reversal. You can see that FDX has been in a serious downtrend for quite some time. And we've just fallen down to multi-year support around 138.16. Okay, so I need to see this area hold. If 138.16 fails to hold, then I'm not even interested in this anymore until it comes back down to 131.77, which is going to be our next area, also confirming this regression line. So right now, we see that we've got this, downtrend within the downtrend. We want to see it get above this level. You see this dotted line here is a very long-term trend line that it has fallen below on a monthly. And you can see how deadly this chart looks, right? So the 200 EMA currently reading at 129.82, which means FDX could definitely see some more fallback. But we seem to be holding around this 138.16. Definitely want to make sure that 138.16 holds. Got a strong sell candle right here. So definitely something to be cautious with as far as FDX. But it is triggered for a move to the upside. A short-term pop anyways, which we may have already gotten. This could be it right here. The 138 down to 143, that's about a $5 move. But we did see some interesting open interest and option order flow. So it looks like we have some 150 and 152 calls. We want to see those lighten up as they are bearish positions. But let's go take a look at the open interest and see what we can find here. Right now, if we can hold our current level around this 141.75, we can hold that level, break above this trend, which is, this cross point happens around 143.71. If we can get above 143.71, I'd be looking for 147.54. But that is nothing more than a wishful thought. Let's go take a look at some open interest and see if we can find something that's going to help us confirm this analysis. Alright guys, so ticker symbol FDX. This one definitely has a nice setup to the upside for a reversal. But that's not to say that we couldn't experience some fallback early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday possibly. But we're definitely looking for that multi-year support to hold. The open interest does not demonstrate a very strong support level near term. Kind of, like I said, a mixed bag here. But there are a few things that I noticed and that I will be watching into the week as I look for an entry in. The first thing I noticed is here, these 152.50s. Thursday and Friday we had a pretty strong takeaway from this position here, which is 2,498. Had about 680 contracts closed out. So this definitely demonstrates a bearish position starting to exit out of some of these calls that they sold. The fact that they're not lightening up heavier indicates to me that FedEx is not looking for a sharp move to the upside. So it looks like 152.50 definitely we won't see that anything really close to that this week. But nevertheless, we could still be looking for a few dollars on this one, maybe $4 or $5. Another thing that I noticed, and I think it is pertinent to keep an eye on, is this large decrease in our deep in the money puts. So notably, right here, we have the 155 puts with 1,000 open interest on them, and we got some, about 10% of that position being taken off into what I believe is a strong support level as we're hitting multi-year support on FedEx. So those are just a couple of things to be looking at. For me, I'll be looking at the 143 calls if we can maintain that support. Let's go take a look at the time and sales and see if there's anything notable over there. Alright, so the first thing that I find the most interesting are these puts. 157 of them added, but they're added very early in the morning, and this was on bullish activity. So that's what makes this a little confusing, because the time of the ad, this is either poor execution and entry, or someone is expecting a very large move to the upside, as these were bought at the 88 deltas for a price of 720. So this to me tells me that we definitely want to be waiting for our confirmations on this one. We don't want to jump too much into the anticipation zone there. We really want to see some volume and some confirmed price action with some good option order flow to the upside, meaning we want to see puts on the lower end of our option chain, calls close to the monies, and we just want to be waiting for our entry. But we still have some nice orders here. We got some 147 calls, 274, traded at a 14 delta though, so this is either a very speculative position that we're going to see at least 147 this week, which definitely correlates with the expected move. Also, you know, the $4 move that I believe that we're looking for, that our chart definitely demonstrates. So we've got a few of those that I saw come in. 147, there's another 151, all traded at low deltas though. So we definitely want to be keeping an eye on price action. Like I said, look for the confirmation before we get in. That X definitely looks good to the upside. I'll be looking at 143 calls this week. So that's it for FedEx, and we're going to go ahead and move on. Alright guys, so ticker symbol CVX is going to be our next chart here. What interested me in CVX was, of course, was triggered for a reversal on the daily, and the XOP ETF from the spiders that was one of the few ETFs that did not see some great price action on Friday, which of course we saw the oil sell off, natural gas has been selling off, so just that particular sector in general has not been doing well. But although the sector itself was not triggered for a reversal, CVX was triggered for a reversal. So right now we can see we've bounced off some pretty strong support levels, 110.28, and we're holding 112.55 currently. We want to see a hold at 112.55. If I can get it to hold at 112.55, and we could be looking for a pop up to 115.11, which is the ultimate price target for this week. But if we can't get this 112.55 to hold, and given the state of the volume right now, it may not, then we could definitely be seeing 110.28. So that 112.55 is going to be our key pivot point right now. We need it to hold there. If we can't hold, then I'd be looking for a short down to 110.28. If it does hold, again, we're looking for 115.11. Let's go take a look at that open interest and see what we can find there to help us along with this trade. Alright guys, so our next symbol is ticker symbol CVX. This actually comes off of the XOP, or Oil Exploration ETF, and that was the only ETF that did not see some great price action on Friday. So that could definitely lead us to speculate that the XOP stocks are still looking very bearish. In Chevron's case, I think we're looking for a pullback to 110 before we're actually going to get our entry signal. And we're looking at the October 18th expirations. And the most important thing we're looking at right here is these 115 calls. Or puts, I'm sorry. With the 8,986 open interest, this has not changed much. They're not taking off positions even on bearish activity or bullish activity. So this leads me to suspect that we're definitely looking for at least a pullback down to these 110s, where these open interest seems to be providing us a little bit of support. And on the flip side, we're also looking at around 830 open interest on the 110 calls. And we're also not seeing too many of these positions over here lighten up. So we could definitely be looking for a pullback on Chevron to around the 110 area. we're looking for it to hold at that 110 area, and then we're looking for a rise up. If we take a look at our time and sales, a lot of the activity definitely suggests some continued bearishness on Chevron. So let's go take a look and see what we find there. Alright guys, so the time of sales here, we're definitely looking at some interesting activity. We've got a lot of low delta calls, so we see all these calls over here, and the highest delta we've got is at these 114 calls. This is definitely a speculative player thinking that we're going to get a rise into Monday off that very those two bullish candles at the bottom of this downtrend. But we've got a lot more interesting activity around our puts. So we definitely want to keep an eye on the rise come Monday. I think we're looking for a pullback to 110. I'll be looking for my entry there for a rise back up. But if our current area holds, then we're definitely going to be exceeding 115. So that is only about $1.20 on Chevron, which isn't a huge play, but Chevron could definitely provide a great move if we can get above that 115. Alright guys, so ticker symbol CBS is from our XLC ETF on the SPDRs, and this one's triggered for a reversal on the daily. And you can see that we're in a pretty strong downtrend right now, right? And we're pretty much confirming this downtrending line. We got 1, 2, bunch of confirmations right there, but we've got some nice volume coming into the market. Ultimately, our price target this week is going to be around 41, which is about a resistance level right there. We want to see current price action hold. So 38.55 is going to be our support level that we want to see hold. And we can get that to hold, then we'll be watching our 39 calls. Again, the 39 calls were placed about 2 weeks out, so it was placed on the October 13th expirations, which means that this one might have to do a little bit of accumulation right here before we see that rise up. But I'm still looking for this to move up about $2, which is a great move on CBS. Let's go take a look at that open interest and see what we can find there to confirm our entry into this bullish position. Okay guys, ticker symbol CBS comes from our XLC play, as that was triggered for a reversal. CBS seems to be following suit with the ETF that it is tracked by, or at least one of the securities that it's on. And the most interesting options flow order I saw this week was on these 39s. This is of course 12 days out, so again, might not be looking at anything this week, but I still think that CBS is good for a rise this week through 39, and possibly looking up to the 41 areas. We had 4,000 traded Thursday and Friday on CBS. That is a large order, and that I believe is providing us a good support level. We're right at 39, so we definitely kind of want this area to hold. We don't want it to go too far below, but we're definitely looking at an entry even come Monday, depending on what the market conditions are. This is what I'll be focusing on, as those 39 calls. Near term, the options do not tell us a whole lot. You see we've got some light players here, but we've got some small positions below the market, and there's not a lot holding us down, which is pretty important. There's not too much activity, but there's not a lot of activity on these weeklies anyways. So if you find some profit, get out quick. Right now they're trading at 58 cents at a delta of 41 cents. So a dollar would get you close to 100%, not quite, but if you see 30, 40, 50%, then take it. That's what I'll be looking for CBS come Monday. I'll be looking for entry into calls, and those 48 or those 39 calls on October 12th are definitely going to be what I'm focusing on the most. But let's go take a look at the time and sales and see if there's anything interesting over there. So let's didn't see a whole lot of trading activity on Friday, but we did see a nice order that came in at a 48 delta, so this person is definitely expecting a rise come Monday. 39 calls, 100 of them, traded at 62 cents, and at the time they were trading 53 by 71. So that's a nice order. We don't see a whole lot of put activity. Low delta puts, definitely. Got some 20s over here. Over here we got one player who thinks that, well, that's actually 39 calls at the 51 delta, so another supporter, but these are all smaller orders. Looking at 41 being our overall resistance area, which definitely is supported by some of these orders here. We got some 4 deltas, 100 of them traded at later in the day, but the market was starting to squeeze up around this time too, so these could be some highly speculative bets to the upside. Again, we'll watch for price action Monday. I'll be looking to get into calls this week. Alright guys, and last but not least is ticker symbol SIX. If you caught this last week with me, then you were up over 250% in just a couple of days on those 50 calls. We're going to be taking another look at this one this week. This is a very bearish candle right here, but we're looking for support around 48.21. And we'd like that 48.21 to hold for a rise back up to 50.85. So let's go take a look at the open interest and see what we can find there to confirm this analysis. Again, this is kind of a lotto play, as the reversal already happened, but the open interest still remains favorable to us if we're reading it right. So let's go take a look at it, see what we can find. Alright guys, and the last one for this week is ticker symbol SIX. Followed along last week, you made around 250% in just a couple of days trading this one. This actually diverged from the market as we saw those large sell-offs. Six Flags proceeded to rally around $2.50, which was a fantastic move for us. This week we're going to be taking another stab at it, but we're not just taking a stab. We're going to base it off some large open interest that we saw come into the market. So here we are looking at October 2nd. See that right up here, and we're looking at these 45 puts. Now it is my belief that we're looking for this to be a support zone. So Six Flags would be definitely looking at some fallback. It has a high implied volatility, so I believe these are option sellers. As volatility is about to come crashing down on Six Flags. If volatility continues to rise, then these could definitely be option buyers, and we could be looking for a push through 45. But let's take a look and see how many got added. I believe it was around 2,000. So there's our 2,000 added on the 45s on the 3rd, and we look right around here. The 3rd is this day right here, this Thursday. And then that transferred into open interest on Friday. So I believe 45 is going to be providing us a strong support level, which means Six Flags might kind of be stagnant around here before we look for that rise back up. But we have a lot of buyers over here, or sellers. We're going to be looking for price action on Monday. I'm looking for a fallback to 45. However, if the current level holds, then we're definitely looking to retest the 52 area. Alright guys, so for a quick look at SPY going into Monday, we had that strong rally on Friday, but I'm not sure that I'm going to let that be fooling me this week. Although we did have a strong rally, we are definitely still looking at a downtrend. We've not broken that. We could be looking for a pop-up into Monday, but I'd be looking at 296 as our upper resistance level if we do decide to hold. At 296 though, I'd definitely be looking for some entry into puts. The activity definitely suggests that as far as option order flow, that puts are more favored. We have a lot of selling very far below the market, which to me suggests that we're definitely looking for some pullback after this monster rally. Also, if we take a look at our volume here, 30-day average volume, it's trading far below it. So this rally is held up by very thin air. Not a lot holding it up. Definitely be looking for some pullback. I'm looking at 291 being our lower support zone. Let's go take a look at that open interest and see why. Alright, so here's our open interest for our October 7th, the ones that expire Monday. And we can see, as far as open interest is concerned, we see a lot of volume being traded. Volume seems to die off around the 291, so that is where I'll be looking for support. And our resistance area is around this 296 area. Keep in mind we've got a lot of volume traded around these areas, and right now we're looking at maybe a $2 move from where we're currently at. So, you know, 292 or 296 being our trading range. So that's what I'll be looking for in the Monday. Obviously, I'll be looking for calls off 291, puts off 296. Anything in between, I'll be standing aside, as we are currently in a downtrend. The market's become incredibly more difficult to trade. Support and resistance zones are going to be tested and retested and retested, ultimately leading to what I believe is going to be just a sideways chopping market. So that's what I expect for Monday. Definitely be careful out there this week. A lot of the options chains that I looked at suggest that we're not going to see a whole lot of activity this week, but next week we'll definitely be starting to see some directions being chosen, also some sector rotation and decisions of where they're going to start putting their money. Keep in mind that XLU saw a large inflow of capital in the last 2 days as the market rallied. So input of money into some defensive areas is never a good sign for the market, which is why I still believe that we're going to look possibly for a rise up to 296, but more likely than not, I'll be looking for puts there for a fall back to 291. And that will do it for this week's watch list. I hope you found some value in this. I wish you profits. Thank you for watching.